you win the point if you hit the opponent with a tennis ball.
Not only the first sports anime I've watched, it's also the first like shonen thing I've watched where the power of friendship means jack shit.
So I found this one website. It looked pretty sketchy, but the prices looked pretty good.
I guess I just revealed that I have legs. All right, this Lego guy right here, he can beat Goku. What's up? Welcome everybody to the My Phone Is Not Charging podcast.
Welcome back to the 8-month hiatus.
Yeah.
Well,
has it
from
only
the
been 8 months?
Hiatus. I'm basing it off of what you said the other day.
I think it was like 7 months since
It was within
episode.
the year though, which is crazy. It feels like it was like last year or
March.
something.
I think it was March
March?
the last time we did it.
You know what else was in March? The last time we ever played Yu-Gi-Oh!
Oh, yeah.
But they don't know that.
I think the last time
I guess now they do.
The last time I played Yu-Gi-Oh was March 5th.
Let me pull it up.
Master Duel.
It wouldn't be on Steam because I play it on my Switch, but if the last time you played it was in March and the last time I must have played it was in like February, because I think you had like booted it up a bit after I did.
Oh, I booted up Master Duel semi recently, just to see some changes, and then I closed it down within like 10 minutes. I opened it up in July, and then I looked at some stuff, and then I closed it down. And I have yet to go back. But I don't know. Yu-Gi-Oh was really fun for the time that we played it.
I guess we could start off with like card games.
Well, I got really into Yu-Gi-Oh, and then I didn't. Because I don't know, there's something about Yu-Gi-Oh that was a lot of fun, and I still think it is a really cool game. I don't know.
We felt the burnout. The burnout was real.
To be fair, I was playing it.
We were playing it like every day, trying to grind the ladder. And I don't know. I think the thing about Master Duel, and I'm gonna compare it to a game that came out like a few days ago, Vanguard Deer Days. The difference between Yu-Gi-Oh and the Vanguard game is like you can do stuff in Deer Days, like outside of the rank ladder. But yeah. I think Yu-Gi-Oh is literally just the rank ladder right now, and that's it. And that made it feel really stale.
Well, it was just like I don't know. I think the biggest thing that put me off was I liked making new decks. I had a new deck like every day, which is kind of amazing. The fact that I didn't spend any money on Master Duel, but it was like you'd go into a game and every game was like Herald of Ultimateness. I'm getting like war flashbacks now. It was like Herald of Ultimateness or the Twin something. I don't remember. But it was always the same like 3 or 4 decks, and it just got really annoying.
The meta was insane.
Yeah. It's why I don't play a lot of Overwatch competitive, because the meta is like the same 3 heroes, and it's like if you're not playing those guys, give up. So.
Yeah. Speaking of meta, a game that I've been getting into a lot, like as of I guess July, was Pokemon Unite. It's like League of Legends for Pokemon, and I know we've played together a few times, here and there, but I really like started picking it up with my girlfriend around like I want to say the beginning of like fall, and at first she was a bit confused as to why I was getting upset so many times, but then she started getting into it, and then sometimes I'll go and visit her in her apartment because we live like 300 miles from each other. But I'll go visit her, and I'll just be chilling, watching shows, and she'll be next to me playing her game, and she'll start raging, just like I do, and I can't help but laugh because I know I do the exact same thing, and it's just sort of like I'm glad you understand how I feel sort of feeling.
Yeah, I had heard you swear before. But nothing like
it was so
Pokemon Unite.
My goodness.
Holy crap, you sounded like me.
I'm not like top tier Pokemon Unite player, but like I think I I think I saw like really stupid plays from people, and it drove
Oh
me
yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
It felt like people didn't use their common sense. It's like when you see a bad driver on the road, it's like what are you doing,
Who
man?
gave you a
Like, come
license?
on. Who passed you? Oh
That's
my
the
goodness.
kind of unfortunate thing about like free games. I only have Overwatch 2 to draw comparison from, but it's like you have you have people in Overwatch that either take the game super seriously or don't give a fuck. I'm like
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle because I'm like I joke about it a lot, um, but I still try and like win. I'm not like I'm not a thrower, but there is a lot of people that'll show up and they're just there to troll. And it's like it can be incredibly annoying. Um, when you are trying to win and you got some 5-year-old screaming into the mic, being like saying D's nuts 900 times and running into a wall, and they're the only healer, and it's like, oh my god.
It sounds like they wanted to play Fortnite, but then try Overwatch too. It's like they were playing Fortnite before and then they switched over to Overwatch. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Speaking
it's.
of, that's another game. Well, I didn't play it too much after we initially played it together, but
I know. I
yeah,
think my
like
BattleNet thing says you've been offline for like a month.
a month. Yeah, yeah. I think that was like the last time we played, right?
I think so.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, the only time I played. But yeah, it was pretty nuts. Like my lag was insane because I don't think
Oh yeah.
my poor laptop couldn't handle it. But it was still fun. Reinhardt is a beast. I like pushing and stuffs.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Overwatch. I've had a lot of fun with. Um. I haven't done much competitive. I've done some competitive here and there, but competitive is very scary because I'm not that good at Overwatch. um, especially because like I don't. When I first started playing Overwatch, I would pick like one character and just grind the shit out of them. And get like really really good with it. Like play no one else. Um, and now I'm bouncing between heroes a lot more. So I'm getting like an understanding of a lot of them, but I'm not getting good with any of them.
Oh yeah.
I also played most of my Overwatch on PlayStation and Xbox, so now going to keyboard and mouse is still. I've been PC gaming for like a year now, and I'm still not used to it. And my aim is Garbo Town. But yeah, Overwatch 2 is fun. You get a lot of trolls, and you get some people that are just there to be an asshole, and it's like, all right, this isn't fun. I've honestly turned voice chat just completely off now. Because
Sometimes it's fun. I leave it on when I play Pokemon Unite. Sometimes there's like that one kid that's like shouting. That's like, "Come on, guys! I
well,
need backup."
that's the one. That's the one thing I miss is people just like screaming at you. Sorry, that sounds weird. But like I remember when I would play like a really good like Genji or whatever, and everyone fucking hates Genji. And he's the meta now in Overwatch 2, which is like he wasn't when I was playing. Everyone hated him. And now everyone's like, well, people still hate him, but for different reasons. What was that? Expected to be like
I
a
my phone was vibrating and I didn't want it to interfere, so I was like, "Get out of here."
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to draw attention to it then. No, but I used to play a really good Genji on PlayStation. And it was always like a good feeling when someone would like scream at you, being like, "Get off Genji, you're trash." And then I play really good, and then they ended with like, "Okay, you know what? Never mind, it's fine, you're good, you're good." And now I can't do that. I pick up Genji, and it's like because of how sensitive aiming with mouse is. It's a lot more precise, obviously, but because of how precise it is, I'm really bad at it. I don't know if I have a really sensitive mouse or my sensitivity's too high. But I find I cannot hit anything.
Have you ever seen like people attach pens to like their
Oh yeah,
mouse and then they see like how much mouse movement they do for
yeah,
each game? It's kind of cool.
yeah. No, those are really interesting. I feel like if with Overwatch, it would just be a giant like mess because I guess it also depends on who you're playing. Like I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty. So playing Soldier and Overwatch, I find I'm a little bit better with that. Um, but trying to play the other heroes, I'm still not great with. I can still play like a decent Reinhardt and characters you don't really have to aim with. Those I'm a little bit better with. But aiming has been like my biggest bottleneck recently. Which makes for epic gameplay. But anyway,
I was on the App Store the other day and I actually came across Warzone on mobile. I was like, that's
oh
pretty
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. No, that's just a thing. Call of Duty Mobile.
I'm not sure if it's like cross-platform though,
I don't think so. No.
because I probably want to keep like the mobile users like separate from like PC. Maybe like PC to console would be okay.
PC to
Uh,
console, there's a lot of that crossplay. And there's people complaining about consoles having an advantage, or PC people having an advantage and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, probably. I think it's just kind of inevitable. You're gonna have some advantage if you're like even halfway decent. Because it's like you can turn around much faster. And there's people that can play like max sensitivity, like, and they can still get like really precise aiming, and they can spin around like 400 times before you can even blink. And like those people are crazy. I have no idea how their brain works. But it's like even me with Garbo aim, I can still react faster than people using a controller. But because I can't hit them, it doesn't matter. It's always so embarrassing running around a corner and like I get shot and I spin around instantly and I start shooting and it's almost like I shoot a perfect outline around them and I'm just like, oh my god. So and then I die.
You'd be really good at like Russian roulette, where like you throw like the knife at them. You wouldn't even hit them. You would just hit around them.
Yeah, yeah. Or my luck, now that I'm aiming outside of them, I would hit them. Maybe that's what I gotta do. Maybe I have to aim past them and then I'll hit them.
Yeah, don't try to hit them because then
That's big
you
brain
won't hit
right
them.
there. Oh, that's
Yeah.
wow, that's big brain. Damn,
It's
I
like
can't believe
reverse
I didn't think of that.
psychology. I do that all
Wow.
the time when I'm playing tennis. It's like whenever I have the opportunity to like, I use the phrase "kill the ball," and that means to like finish off the point. Whenever I have that opportunity and I'm like really close, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put this away. I always miss, and
Oh.
it's either, you know, in tennis there's like a net in front of you. It's either I slam it into the net and then I lose the point, or it goes way out the fence. So it's like I can never find that middle ground, and it's like one of the biggest flaws in my game. It's like I can play consistently, but whenever I'm given the chance, I just like choke hard.
Well, in my head, you playing tennis is like I imagine like there's like flames dragging behind you, and when you're swinging the racket or whatever, or the raquette, as I learned,
Requests.
when you're swinging that thing, I just imagine there's like flames and sounds of thunder and, like sonic booms and everything. So I'm just like that's what I imagine in my head. So I'm terrified to play tennis against you one day because
Actually,
I would
yeah,
explode.
the other day, I think it was Thursday, I went to go play with my friends. I invited one of my I have different like tennis friend groups, and I keep them kind of separate just out of respect for them. Like, oh, I wouldn't want to like invite these guys to come crash at our practice, because that just doesn't seem right. But if it's like one individual and I bring it to like a group of me and two other friends, like actually inviting the other friend would be beneficial for us because it'd keep the teams even.
Yeah.
Because normally it would be me. Let's say group A, it'd be me and then two other friends. I'd be on one side and they'd be on the other. It's kind of unfair for me because I'm like at a slight disadvantage.
Slight,
So
bro. Get out of here.
but then I can invite like one other friend to like even things out. So I did, and it was like the first time that the my other friends had like met this person. So they introduced themselves, whatnot. I was like, yeah, I hope they get along and like they like each other. And so we were playing. The vibe was pretty good. The environment was like nice. It wasn't like no one was like playing terribly or anything. Because like the way I like to practice is like if someone's not having a good time, then it kind of brings the whole mood down.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to keep the like if we're having a really good practice session, or if we want to have a good practice session, I'm not gonna bring someone who's like gonna slack off or like not gonna care as much, because I don't want them to be on the same court as people that do care
Yeah.
and are trying to get better.
Yeah.
So the four of us, I think collectively we had like a pretty good like trying to get better mindset, and so like our practice was like pretty solid, and we were actually going off like crazy. It was nuts. And I even brought my tripod out, but I just never set it up, so
to film.
I never got any footage.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound like a dumb question, because I guess maybe I don't know exactly what it looks like. Do you ever just have random people walk up and be like, "Hey, can I join your tennis game?"
Actually, yeah. I mean, unless we're playing like an actual like match, like if we're just playing to
You're
practice,
like halfway through, some just guy shows up. Hey, bud, how's it going?
I just nail him in the head. We're in the middle of a point here, bud. Tennis etiquette, but yeah, I'll like if we're just practicing, sometimes I'll see some people come up to us and be like, "Hey, like, is it cool if I join y'all?" Like, typically it's when we have like a uneven amount of people, or if sometimes if I'm just like by myself doing like what serving is, right? It's
Is
it's
that
like
when you throw it and you
that's
hit
that's
it?
like how to start the point, pretty much.
Okay, yes, I do know
Like
that.
if I'm doing serve practice, sometimes someone will come up to me and ask like, "Oh yeah, like can I join you?" Or if like I'm playing like on the ball machine, so like there's a machine that can just shoot out balls at you and you just run and hit them. Sometimes I'll have people see me and be like, "Oh hey, like do you need someone to play against?" Sometimes I'd say sure. Other times I'd say, like I'm kind of working on some stuff, so maybe not. Most of the time I just agree to play with them because I'm a nice guy, but yeah.
Am I
Um,
crazy, or I feel like a ball machine, would that now be like way stronger than whatever a human can smack a tennis racket?
you can control like the strength of like the ball, or like the speed of how
Okay.
of the ball, and like the amount of spin, how high the ball is. So you can control a lot. Obviously, if you put it at like max speed,
Well,
it's
yeah,
gonna kill
I'm
you.
imagining it like fucking launching out at like a million miles per hour.
No. You can. Most of the time, if you're at like a tennis center, they'll have it set up for you, and they'll try to have like a sign that says like, "Oh, try not to touch this if you can," or like mess with the settings.
It's like the
At
settings
least
on a treadmill, and you get up to 10, and it's just like a skull icon next to it. Like, you will die if you use this setting.
No, actually, there's like a caution sign that's on it. That's like, while this machine is on, don't stand in front of it, because you could get hit in like the throat or something, and like it could hurt you like a lot. Like,
Yeah, I
there was
imagine.
actually this one instance where this pro tennis player Novak Djokovic, who's insanely good. He's like one of the best in the world. He got really upset and he like hit a ball, but it ended up hitting one of the line judges in the throat, and he got like disqualified.
Ooh.
I think it was the throat. I'm not sure if it was the throat or if it was like near the face area, but yeah, it was pretty dangerous. So basically, like, whenever you're like standing in front of the ball machine, you got to be careful, because initially it launches, like in physics, the initial launch is like fast, and then it like it slows down when it gets over to your side.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like,
gravity.
gravity weighing it down.
So just basically like don't stand in front of it, or you're gonna get knocked in the throat or somewhere else. It could hurt.
God.
It's rough. Which is it's not like that serious,
I
honestly. It's
imagine
like
it's not
to have
strong
some common
enough.
sense,
It's not
you
like
know.
making a sonic boom, right? I imagine it's not going because that's like what 800 miles an hour or 800 kilometers an hour. Is that what sonic
I don't
boom
even.
is?
I have no clue.
I think
I
so.
imagine
It's
like
the
faster
sound
than
of like,
speed of sound.
well, yeah, because like a gun is like that's the sound that's why it makes a sound because it's breaking the sound barrier to fire out a little bullet. So I'm imagining a tennis ball machine is probably not actually. I don't think it's set up the same way as a gun. Now that I think about it, I'm just thinking they're both firing things. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know anything about tennis. I've only seen, um, I saw one video a while ago. I have no idea who the tennis player is, but it was this like video of, so he swings it and then the people that like run around and grab the ball when it's like out of bounds or whatever.
Yeah.
So this girl she was like moving a bit, and then he swung it, and it smacked her right in the face, and it looked
Oh.
so fucking painful. He ran over to her and was like,
Oh.
"Oh my god, are you okay?"
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the guy with the headband, right? He's
Yes.
left-handed.
Okay.
He was like on the
I didn't-
top side of the screen, and the girl was standing next to the chair, and then she got hit, right?
Yes, I think so.
That's I think it's that exact video. But yeah, that player is, I think, Rafael Nadal. He's like one of the nicest guys.
Well,
Well,
it
he does
looked
really
like
nice
it hurt. The
things.
thing is,
Yeah.
I could not do it. When I'm in pain or whatever. I need to just like don't even look at me. Just let me suffer for a second. And I'm like, I could not imagine getting whacked in the face with a ball and then having every camera in the room pointed at me. Then, because it's like that would
Yeah.
be so much pressure. Because I'm like, I ain't about to cry on live television. All right.
Exposed to the public.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
having real human emotions. That cannot happen. So.
I've had like, I've had balls hit me before. Even like on Thursday, I hit myself with the ball because I try to hit. It's called a volley when you're at the net, you're trying to hit the ball before it bounces, but I missed it and it hit like the edge of my racket and it bounced into my head.
Oh God, how?
But luckily it was like the side of my head, so it didn't hurt too much. But from like when you're watching from the other side and you see that happen, it looks like it hurts because it's you're going for the shot and then boom, it hits you in the face, and they're like, oh,
They
are you
gotta-
okay, whatnot.
They gotta implement like hockey helmets into tennis. The ones with the grate and everything. They need to start implementing that into tennis because it's like,
Yeah,
oh my God.
tennis is like a whole contact sport. It's actually okay. Well, it's not okay. Like obviously it's bad sportsmanship, but you win the point if you hit the opponent with the tennis ball. Like if you hit your shot and it hits a part of their body that's not a part of their racket, you win the point. So they
Hawkeye would be great at tennis.
they encourage hitting people. Not encourage. I just say like,
It's not frowned upon, or it's not like
you
so
win the
are there-
point. You win the point.
Are there people that are like actively aiming specifically to like hit people? Then are there
No.
just absolute tennis madmen out there that are?
No, because most of the time you're at like the far backside of each side of the court. So to be able to hit that fast from that great of a distance, and to not have them like just take one step to the right or left, you got to have some insane power and strength. But like if both players are like close quarters, like at the net, and one has like an easy shot, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't just try to go for that.
What happens
obviously
if
it's
you
like
hit them
it's
with the
really
racket?
loose. Oh, with the racket? Ooh, I don't
If
even
you're
know.
close enough, what happens if you just forget this ball? I'm just gonna whack you in the head.
There was actually a scene in Prince of Tennis. It's like one of the first episodes of Prince of Tennis where like he's going for an overhead and it slips out of his hand on accident and it hits him in the head and he starts bleeding.
Oh shit!
And then they're like, "Oh no, Ryoma!" Ryoma is like the main character. He's like one of the characters on the sideline. She was like, "Oh no, Ryoma! Like, are you okay?" And then Ryoma's like, "Get off the court! You're not supposed to be on the court while we're playing." And he does this like really cool thing where like he puts his hat back on, and then he switches over to like his dominant hand, and then he like messes him up.
Oh,
Yeah.
he isn't screwing around now. Yeah, I forgot this is an anime podcast, so probably should mention anime. But Prince of Tennis, haven't watched it. That's the
I
one with
haven't
the
watched.
superpowers, isn't it?
There's what's up?
Isn't Prince of Tennis the one with superpowers?
Yeah, that one has superpowers. And they're doing like the under 20 World Cup right now. That's like the new Prince of Tennis season. I haven't watched it though. But there is one sports anime that I was trying to watch this morning, but when I checked Crunchyroll, it wasn't out yet. And that's Blue Lock. And
I was gonna say the only sports anime I've watched is this little show called Blue Lock.
yeah, I wanted to segue, but yeah, Matthew has been telling me about it for a bit. You told me about it a bit ago.
I
And I was
told
like,
you
yeah,
about
it
it when I
seems...
watched the third episode, I think.
Oh, really? That
I think
was
so.
what was that episode? Like, what was going on? Oh, spoilers? I don't know.
It was the first team fight or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Blue Lock was just it seemed a lot faster paced than what I was used to. Like one of the first sports anime I watched being Haikyuu, which feels a bit slower because each season's about like 25 episodes, except season 3 is like 10 episodes. And I think season 4, it's like I think season 4 is 25 episodes. I might be wrong. But yeah, Blue Lock, it feels like a lot faster, probably because it's getting like the regular 12 episode season like that a lot of animes do.
Well, for those who don't know, Blue Lock, basically, to give you a quick synopsis,
Yeah.
it's a bunch of soccer dudes. That so the idea is that Japan sucks at soccer, or the World Cup at least, and they want to win the World Cup. So they put 300 18-year-olds or something like that, younger people, into a basically giant soccer thunderdome and training facility and everything, and they basically are like, all right, one person is gonna leave this place, a soccer god, and then they just build it up from there. So it's not only the first sports anime I've watched, it's also the first shonen thing I've watched where the power of friendship means jack shit. So it's it is very interesting. I'm really, really enjoying it.
And that's kind of interesting too, because soccer is like a team sport, and you'd imagine they'd be working together. But
well, that's the interesting spin on it, is that everybody hates each other.
yeah, the whole spiel is that the mastermind behind it is trying to get the guy who's got the most ego to come out on top, because he thinks that you need this ego to be the best in the world.
Yeah, so it's really, really interesting so far. I like all the characters. It's new, so I don't want to spoil it too much. But I definitely recommend watching it. Good stuff.
Yeah, when I watched it, I think I finished it within the first. Well, obviously it's not finished yet, but when I started it, I caught up pretty fast because I was just so hooked on it.
Well, it is really, really good. I want to watch the newest episode because the last episode ended on a cliffhanger. So I'm very excited to watch that later. But yeah, I just want to talk about the show, but I don't want to spoil anything because I'm like, it's new. People are gonna watch it, but animation's super clean. Opening's pretty good. Character design's great. Art style's great. Other generic buzzwords to say the show's good. Another show I've been watching, kind of, is the new season of My Hero Academia. You're not caught up on it, right?
No, I have not started.
It's season 6. It's the Paranormal Liberation War arc, which is, I just realized, so weird. The last time we recorded this, I was talking about being like, oh yeah, that season comes out in 7 months. I can't wait to watch that. Now it's currently ongoing. Ow, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is currently ongoing. So it's adapting my favorite part of the manga. You can't see it. I have part of it back there behind All Might, and it's just focusing on my face. I have one of the manga things back there. It's behind All Might. But yeah, it's adapting my favorite part of the manga. Um, and I know I've been dogging on My Hero Academia quite a bit because the manga's been kind of mid in my opinion. um, and every new chapter, like there's some stuff where I'm like, oh, this is starting to get cool again, and then it pivots, and then I'm like, oh, this is kind of boring. um, but yeah, so what's being animated currently is, in my opinion, like the last good part of My Hero Academia. And then after that, it kind of goes like, I'm sure people are gonna enjoy it. Like, there's a lot of people that are gonna like it. I'm sure. I think it's just more like a me thing. I've seen some people say it's not hitting it the same, but from what I can tell, the majority is still like, oh, this is a great book, or manga, whatever. But season 6, so far they've done a pretty good job of adapting it. There's only been a couple of things here and there. They've added some like little new things here and there, which has been cool. And so far it hasn't been like season 5 got a lot of shit because like animation was not as great. They cut some corners here and there. They adapted things slightly differently. They cut out some like smaller moments between characters that like built up relationships, and people were kind of bothered by that. Because season 5 is basically just set up for this season. And so far this season has been really, really solid. It's just now getting to like the really good part of the arc. And it's actually going by faster than I thought it would. But it's so far I have no complaints that I can think of. The animation's really solid. And it's just, I'm enjoying it. I hope that they don't cut corners in some of the later fights that are like, oh, these need like crisp animation. But I think during some of the dialogue parts, they're probably gonna, it's just gonna be like static characters and lip flaps. But that's fine. But yeah, so but the problem is with My Hero Academia is I got hooked and watched all 4 seasons, and then I was like, all right, I'm in it for the long haul. But there's a lot of people that have said the show gets so boring around season 3. So I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, season 6 is so good, you gotta watch it. And then people being like, I'm not gonna watch 5 seasons of a mid show to get to something that's like kind of decent. And it's also one of those things that like people that are like, oh, I don't care for Deku or whatever, and it's like, if you don't care for certain characters, then what's happening right now, you're still not gonna care about it. It's just, oh, this looks kind of flashy. But if you don't care for the characters, then it's not gonna mean anything. But it's been weird watching a show that I've read the book for. So it's obviously a little bit slower because, reading a manga and flipping to the pages, you can do that much quicker than watching a show where they have to speak all the words out loud and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But still, it's not bad so far. I'm enjoying it, so I kind of recommend it, but I only recommend it if you've watched all of My Hero Academia up till now.
How many episodes of season 6 are out?
Same as Blue Lock, so there's like 7 or 8, something like that.
Oh yeah, they did come out at the same time.
The other My Hero Academia thing that I watched kind of recently, I watched the 3rd movie. I don't know if I told you about this. I watched the World's Hero Mission or whatever. And it's something that I've been wanting to watch in some capacity for so long, because I was like, oh man, this looks super good. I really want to see it. I like the 2nd movie. Anime movies in general normally don't have any canon to them. They've been changing it a bit recently with like Jujutsu Kaisen 0 and the Demon Slayer 1. But the 3rd My Hero Academia movie was fine. When I first watched it, I was like huffing copium to be like, no, this is a good movie. And now that I've like sat on it, I'm like, nah, it's kind of mid. Like it was fine. I was super excited to see like the stealth suits and stuff, because like that was in all the trailers, and then it was like, whoa, Deku's a mass murderer, like what? And then all the reveals in the movie were just like, okay. I had heard people say that like, oh, they use the suits for like 2 seconds of the movie. And I was like, no, like, come on, they're exaggerating. It must be at least like 20 minutes. That you literally see like a couple of frames of these suits, and then that's it. I'm like, why even
Oh
fucking
no.
bother animating this shit? Getting some poor character designer to make these really cool suits, and then just be like, nah, we're not gonna use them. And then that's when it was like, okay, this was like purely for like marketing standpoints, like toys and stuff, because it's like, oh, we have a new design now that we can sell figures of. And it's like, come on, man, would have been cool to, because it's like, or if they came back and the new suits looked different, but they don't. There's some fight scenes a little later that look kind of cool, but it's the same thing with like, anime movies, where it's like the main character can do stuff that he can't do in the show yet, but he can just do in the movie, because it's like, well, we need him to. So then it's like, it's weird watching if you imagine the movie being canon, these people are like, oh, it takes place in the down period between this and that, and it's like, all right, whatever. But then it's like, so how is he this strong here and then back to being kind of strong, like a week later?
Yeah.
So
the
it's
continuity
like,
is weird.
yeah. So it's like, there's a lot of things that I'm just kind of like, meh. But the second movie was still good just because of how cool it was. The first movie, again, now that I've had more time to sit on it, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of mid.
I think that's kind of how people feel about like Dragon Ball. I'm not like too into Dragon Ball, but from my understanding, there are two different types of fusion characters. There's one that's mostly appeared in like movies and like Dragon Ball GT, which is, I guess, still technically Dragon Ball, but not like by Akira Toriyama or whoever. It's not by someone else. Like the main storyline would be like Dragon Ball Z, and then it goes immediately to Dragon Ball Super. So GT is supposed to take place like after that, in a sense. But the timeline is weird. But anyways, there's like the fusion dance, where like Goku and Vegeta, they do this sort of thing.
Oh,
and then they become the guy with like the vest. His name is Gogeta. The other one is they each put on an earring. Like one has it on their left and then the other has it on their right. And then they just fuse that way. And that character is called Vegito. Vegito has actually appeared like in the show, and he's canon, like he's appeared in Dragon Ball Super. But Gogeta, he's only ever been in like the movies. So like I think I don't remember which. The most recent one was like the Dragon Ball superhero thing, but I didn't watch that. The one before it though, Broly, was where Gogeta came in, and he was going up against Broly in like this Gogeta form, and it was pretty nuts. And I think that the whole continuity thing is weird because they're always comparing like these two fusion characters together, and there's always like a debate on like who would be stronger. Would it be the guy with like the earrings, or would it be the guy through the fusion dance? And I don't know. It's fun to like debate about it because I don't think the movies will ever be canon, but it's just cool to like think on it.
Yeah, Dragon Ball fans. So I love seeing the memes. Some of them are really fucked up, but seeing the memes are always really funny when it's like yo, this is so bad and I should not be laughing at it. But it's like people would post being like, I beat cancer. I'm cancer free, and someone in the comments immediately like, oh yeah, but can you beat Goku? And it's like, oh my fucking god. It's like, bruh, come on, man. Like, they just did this absolute marvel of an achievement, and you're just like, yeah, that's cool though, but like, come on.
Goku knocks on your door like, hey, I heard you beat cancer. You want to go?
Or the fucking memes of it's like those like thumbnails of like, can Goku beat like HIV and stuff? It's like no hero in the anime universe can beat him, but this can. And it's like, oh my god. I have
think
characters. I have characters. I'm gonna say this now, and all the Goku fans can come after me. I have characters on that shelf back there that can beat Goku. I'm not going to specify which ones.
What?
But I have characters that I believe can beat Goku.
I understand
first one
like the
being
whole
Lego,
Superman.
The first one being Lego Steve back there can absolutely beat Goku.
The Lego Steve.
And no
Not Minecraft Steve?
Lego Steve can
Who's
beat...
Lego Steve?
All right. I'm doing this. If you're listening to this audio only, don't. All right. Oh wait, he's not Lego.
When I look up Lego Steve, it just comes up Lego Minecraft Steve.
I guess I just revealed that I have legs. All right, this Lego guy right here, he can beat Goku. He's not Minecraft Steve. He's just wearing diamond armor. Why is he covered in hair? What the fuck? This guy though, he can beat Goku. I believe he can.
He's gonna pull someone else out.
Oh, can I have my seat back, Zuko? Sorry.
I thought you were gonna pull someone else off the shelf and be like, "This guy can also beat Goku."
The rest of the episode, yeah, I think Captain Levi can beat Goku.
Yeah, that Eevee right there can beat Goku.
Eevee.
Yeah, but
That
Eevee
Eevee can beat Goku, yes. That Samurai, Mecha Samurai, absolutely can beat Goku. He beats the price of any Goku action figure, I can tell you that much.
Oh my goodness.
No, but genuinely, legitimately, 100%, I do believe I have a character on that shelf that can beat Goku. I know nothing about Goku's power levels, but I still believe. But again, I won't specify. Maybe I'll specify one day, but not now.
I can't wait till the next season of Dragon Ball Super comes out. I know it comes out like once every like decade or whatever, but it's gonna come eventually.
Didn't that new Dragon Ball game come out, Cell Breakers? We talked about at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it reminds me of like hide and seek, or like one of those party games, which is a weird way to describe it, but it's basically like one person is the enemy, or it could either be Cell or Frieza, and they're looking for the other people, like they're against, like, I guess the normal people is what I'll say.
Oh, like civilians?
And they're trying to, civilians. And they're trying to escape by either like hiding or like finding stuff for like their rocket ship to like get off.
Dead by
the
Daylight
planet.
Dragon Ball edition.
Honestly, yeah. Well, not that I would know Dead by Daylight, because I have no idea what that is.
Well, Dead by Daylight is, I haven't even played it. I just seen videos. It's like one person plays as a monster. The other four have to escape the area, getting chased by the monster.
Oh yeah,
that
sounds just like it.
They gotta fix like generators and shit.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Dragon Ball, like the Breakers, looks like, at least from the outside. I thought it was free, but apparently it's like $20 on Steam and
20. I thought I saw it for like $80.
eShop. 80.
I could have sworn I saw it for like $80 like Canadian. Okay. Side tangent rant, whatever. Can I talk about how fucking expensive games have gotten? Because god damn.
Yes.
So I'm Canadian. I haven't mentioned that enough. I mention every 15 fucking seconds, but I'm Canadian. And in Canada, our currency is a little bit different. So when I was a kid, games were $60. $60 Canadian, that was like $50, $40, something like that, American. I don't know.
Yeah.
But $60 Canadian, I was like, all right. When I bought Black Ops 2 brand new, it was $60. And it was like, all right. Black Ops 2 is still $60, by the way, but that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then as time has gone on, it was like $70, and then it was like $80. Now it's up to $90. And so after tax and everything, because I moved as well. I guess that's a whole other thing.
Oh yeah, you did move.
But
between now and then.
So, well, I guess my background's empty as shit. But I moved, and now where I live, taxes are a little bit higher. So when I buy a brand new game now, it comes out to be $103, I think it is.
Oh my
and
God.
It's like, oh my god. It's ridiculous how expensive shit has gotten. like I bought the new Call of Duty game. That was $100. I bought Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights was $80. Gotham Knights was $80. So that wasn't too bad. I mean, it's still not great, but it's like, ugh, it's just shit has gotten so expensive. And then it's like, there's all these different things like PlayStation Plus. I when I first got a PlayStation, I had a PS3, and that PS Plus you just had to sign up to. You didn't have to pay anything. You just had to sign up to it. You could play with your friends and all that stuff. So it's just like, hey, you just have to get this. But then if it was like, oh, if you want to pay like $10, something like that, like a year, I think it was back then, you get 2 free games a month, and it was like, wow, this is a wicked deal. No, it was not $10 a month. It was $10 a month. It was like $60 a year, I think it was. But still, it's okay. You get 2 free games every month. That's a pretty good deal. And then the PS4 came along, and then Sony was like, well, we could keep doing it for free, but how about fuck all of you? Give us money now. So then it became PlayStation Plus. If you wanted to play online with your friends and basically use your PlayStation, you had to pay for PS Plus, which is like, all right, whatever. So it's $80 a year, and it's like, not great, but that's fine. And then I got a PS5. I got a PS5 like a couple months ago for God of War Ragnarok. Great game, by the way. But so I got a PS5, and with it, PS Plus has these new, like, all these new, like, tiers now because they're trying to be Game Pass. And I'll admit, some of them ain't bad, all right? It's still dummy expensive because it's so funny because I'm working full time, and I like minimum wage has been bumped up like all across Canada. And it's like, oh, wow, this is great. Because I'm like, holy shit, this is like $1.50 more than I was making before. But also, everything else has gotten so much expensive that it's like, all right, it's all relative. Nothing's changed. I'm still sad and broke. But PS Plus had there's like tiers now. So there's regular PS Plus, which is still like $80-$90 a month. A year, rather. And that's just
and then
like,
there's PS Plus Plus.
And then, no, that'd be a much better name. And then there's that. So there's PS Plus, just regular. And then you pay $80 a year. You get play online. You get 2 free games a month, whatever. And then there's the next step up, which is like PS Plus Essentials, I think. And then I don't remember all these names, so take some of this with a grain of salt. But it was like, it's PS Plus Essentials, which is the one I have, because that gives you access. Gives you access to a huge library of games, which is like Game Pass, but way more expensive. And I'm like, honestly, I wish they would have set it up because I don't play online like at all on my PlayStation. So I'm like, I wish they would have set it up so it was just the other one. So it was just I can get all the game library and not the online features and the 2 free games or whatever the fuck. But they don't have it like that. So instead, I have to pay like $100-something a year to get this PS Plus Essential. And then there's PS Plus Super Essentials Extra Duper Duper or something. It's some fucking bullshit. And it's just like, and then it's like, so I have the big game library because there was a lot of games that I wanted to play because I was like, I got a PS5. I'm going to go catch up on the PS5 games I missed out on. And I started going through it. I was like, man, I'm going to buy all these games. It's going to be so expensive. And then I went to go buy it, and PlayStation was like, yes, you could spend $80 on this one game, or you could give us $40 right now, and we'll give you this game for free as long as you're giving us money. And I was like, all right. And then it was like, oh, hey, look at all these other games you also get. And I was like, all right, you son of a bitch, I'm in. And then I gave him $40 more. And I don't regret it because I've already, like, the games I've already downloaded and I've played, I've already gotten that value for the year already because I've been able to play, like, just from the 3 games I wanted to play, I've already gotten, like, $300 worth of value. So it's like, that's good, but I'm also just like, everything is so expensive because Game Pass is actually like $15 a month, so it's probably the same a year. You know what? I think I'm just bitching. I'm getting older and I'm getting jaded and it's just like when I was a kid, I didn't have to worry about this because it was my mom that bought me everything. So I didn't think about money. And now I'm like, when I want to go buy shit, speaking of buying shit, I bought a pair of joggers because I was looking at stuff and I was like, all right, I like my joggers. Sweatpants are nice, but I'm wearing like these like cargo pants joggers and they're nice. I like stretchy stuff. I don't like tight jeans or whatever. I have a pair of like skinny jeans and they're fine. But I used to have like really, really chubby legs. I used to have really chubby legs, so I hated wearing pants. And then you would have like, all your thigh fat go. I hated that because I was always like, oh, I'm so fat. And I've like lost a lot of more weight now, so I don't have that quite the same. Humble brag. But anyway, so I was like, all right, I want to buy, I've been working out more. I was like, okay, I want to buy like a really nice pair of joggers, which is a dumb thing to start off with because it's like, all right, I want a really nice pair of pants that I'm going to sweat in all the time. So I started looking around and I just played Gotham Knights. And I found these really cool Nightwing themed joggers from this company that does like workout clothes and stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. And then I was looking through stuff. I didn't realize the prices were in American because I'm a dumbass. And I was buying stuff, and I was like, all right, these are $100 joggers, but these better be some, like, quality, you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to buy it. And then I got to the shipping, and I was like, okay, these better be some really good joggers. and then I paid for it all. I looked at my credit card, and I was like, what the fuck? And then realized that because then under it, like my credit card, when I buy stuff that's not Canadian, it's like foreign currency under it. And then I was like, oh, right. Okay, of course. Everything is an American because America owns the world. So I was like, fuck. So now I'm sat here like, these better be some really good joggers. And the thing is, they didn't have on their website listed that it was a pre-order. So I didn't know that it was a pre-order. I thought it was like, because it said it had like 7 in stock. So it was like, you better buy them quick. And I was like, fuck, these are some really cool looking pants. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna treat myself. I just got paid. I'm an adult now. I'm gonna treat myself to a really nice pair of pants. My ass is gonna appreciate me so much later when I have these banging pair of pants on. And I fucking like anyway. So I spent that money. And I was like, I didn't realize it was pre-order. It says 7 left in stock, and I was like, okay, 7 in stock. I assume that means you guys have 7 in stock, right? But what it actually meant is they had like 7 slots available for like, we're only gonna build this many, so we have 7 slots left available, and then we're gonna build it, which I didn't realize. So I bought it. And then it was like, hey, we're going to ship this in 24 hours if it's an item we have in our warehouse. So I was like, okay, cool. And then like a week goes by and I've heard nothing. And I was like,
they just scam
and I was
you?
like, I've never bought it from this company. Did they just take all of my money and be like, But I was also like, well, if they did, this is a very convincing website. And someone had to design all these nice clothes and get people to wear these clothes. So it's like, this is just a big scam. That's kind of impressive. So I was waiting, and then like 3 weeks go by, and I was like, all right. And even when I would go check because it would be like track your package, even when I would go check that, it would just say like no shipping stuff available.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, man, has it even shipped yet? So then I was like, all right, it's been like a month now. I was looking through their stuff, and it was like, okay, you can refund if you're not happy. Anytime during the process, we'll refund you fully. I was like, all right, I think I'm just gonna refund. So then I reach out to the customer service thing, and I'm like, hey, so I ordered these pants like a month ago, and there's been no word, so I think I'm just gonna get a refund and cancel it. And then the guy was like, I guess he could see like my account or something, and then was like, oh, the sweatpants, the joggers you bought are actually shipping out this week. They were in pre-order phase. And I was like, oh, I guess I just look like an asshole now because I pre-ordered something and then was like, well, it's not here yet, so fuck you guys. So I felt really bad. So then I was like, oh, because I still want these pants, right? Like, assuming they're good. And then I was like, okay, never mind. Big preach, thanks. And then the next day they shipped. And I was saying to my mom, and she was like, you know, what probably happened is you were gonna cancel, and they were like, bump this guy along quick, he's taking off. so they were like, all right, here's your pants. So on the tracking thing, they're supposed to be here next Tuesday. So next podcast episode, I will show my epic, very expensive but very nice, hopefully, pants.
I hope you remembered to do that. Oh my gosh, that reminds me of this one time. This was back when I was buying Pokemon cards left and right, and I was into collecting these like Japanese cards, because they're a little bit cheaper than like the American cards or like the English cards. So I found this one website. It looked pretty sketchy, but the prices looked pretty good. Like, you know, it looked too good to be true, but I went and bought some anyways. It was like a really nice Charizard and some other cards too. And I don't remember what the price was, but it was definitely like over $100. And I ordered it and I was waiting, and it was from Japan, because Japanese
imagine
Pokemon
that.
cards. And so, I'm waiting, weeks go by, I don't hear anything. And I'm like, man, I really hope I didn't get scammed. And then a tracking thing comes out. I'm like, oh, it's coming. It's on the way. And then, but then, like, it hardly ever updated until it actually got to my house. Like, I just happened to get a package and I was like, oh, it's here. And I opened it up. I was like, I hope they're not like fake or anything. And I check them. They had like some texture on the front, which is like a pretty good sign that they're legit. Because usually if like they're fake, it would just be like just flat and there's no texture on it. But like I rubbed my finger across it and there was like some texture. I shimmered it in light too, and there was like a bit of the texture.
Did you lick
there.
it? Like, holy shit, man, you're going through a pretty thorough process here.
Gotta make sure they're legit. But yeah, they if they weren't legit, they looked really good.
I thought this story was gonna end like you got them and they looked like a 5-year-old tried to recreate Charizard from memory. Like it was like, yes, Pokemon.
Oh no. Oh my gosh. Another like buying things from a different country sort of thing. I told you about this the other day, but I got Vanguard Deer Days, which it has regional pricing, which basically means like it's gonna cost different in other countries. So it might be this price in this country, but then like way cheaper if you buy from this other country, even though it's like a different currency, Yeah. So I look on Twitter and I'm seeing everyone like have this workaround, like, oh hey, if you want to get Vanguard Deer Days for a lot cheaper than like $70, which by the way, it's Vanguard Deer Days is $70 and Pokemon Scarlet or Violet is like $60. So
that's interesting because it's actually I just looked at Vanguard Deer Days, and Vanguard Deer Days is cheaper than the normal game right now. It's $80 for me.
What?
So there's that regional pricing. It is
regional pricing.
It's cheaper compared to other games. It would be the equivalent to yours, $60.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. That's interesting.
And from like a you can think about it like Pokemon is definitely more popular than Vanguard. Like, Vanguard's just a card game. It would appeal to, those in like the card game niche. But Pokemon, it's like kids play it, adults play it, a lot of people play it.
Yes,
so
grandma plays Pokemon. The
fact that like this Vanguard game was, a bit more expensive than the Pokemon game already, was nuts. And I actually want to talk about Scarlet and Violet like a bit later because holy cow, like it's so dumb. I haven't even touched it, but I've heard so much about it. But anyways, so I found on Twitter that there was like a workaround to getting the game for cheaper. And luckily Vanguard has like this Vanguard game has like language options, so you can actually change it to English if you want it to. So I did the workaround, and I bought it from a different country, like through their eShop and whatnot, and I let it charge my credit card, and I was like, I sure hope it's like, because the price was like 85,000, and then the currency that it was. So I was like, I really hope that it doesn't charge 85,000 US dollars to my card. And I'm like,
shit.
okay, obviously it's gonna convert the prices, but you never know. They might trick you. So I purchase it, immediately check on my bank, and I'm like, it only costed like $18. That's nuts. 18 compared to $70.
Damn.
Like I could buy I could buy the Vanguard game and the DLC that came with it, and it would still be cheaper than like the original price of like buying the game in the US. It was all cheaper than like $70, and I was like, that's insane.
This is kind of a side tangent, but in the same vein. What's with anime games and being like their regular price is always so expensive, but they go on sale for like dirt cheap?
Yeah.
Like I bought like this week I bought Captain Tuba. Not Tuba.
Oh yeah,
sorry.
Captain Tsubasa.
Tsubasa, yeah. Captain Tuba. He's running on the soccer field. Sorry.
He's blowing his tuba.
But
yeah.
I bought that for like $20 maybe. And
yeah.
I just bought, well, okay, this one was not as cheap. I bought what the fuck's the game called?
I will
Hackers.
say like
Soul
Hackers.
Soul Hackers 2. Soul Hackers 2.
Oh no, not that one.
It's a game that came out in the summer, and I love cyberpunk stuff. That's another show I haven't even talked about yet, but that might be a different episode. But I love cyberpunk stuff, and when I played Scarlet Nexus, I rebought Scarlet Nexus, or I bought Scarlet Nexus, I guess.
That's another game that's pretty cheap right now.
I wanted to play the other side of Scarlet Nexus because I've yet to do that. But I love cyberpunk and I love Japan. So you give me a cyberpunk Japan and I'm like, take all of my money. So Soul Hackers 2, when I first saw stuff about it, I was like, oh man, that looks so good. Because it's set in like a cyberpunk Japan. And I think you play as like a detective or some shit. So it looked really, really cool. I haven't seen any like videos or reviews or anything like that. But the reviews on Steam said mixed on them, which is usually like, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
So I checked some of the reviews for that just to make sure people weren't like, oh, this game is a buggy mess and doesn't work. And I didn't see any of those, and then I fucked off. And then I bought the game, and I've yet to play it. But I find myself just buying anime games because I'm like, they're just so cheap. I bought Atelier Riza. It's like a I haven't played it yet.
Oh, is it? It's like a JRPG, right? I think
and you play as this girl that's like a chemist or something, or it's like alchemy, and you make potions and shit, and you go fight demons with your friends or whatever. Typical anime bullshit, but
yeah.
But it's like I've gotten so many anime games that are like dirt cheap, but like Soul Hackers, I got for like $50, I think, which is like that's kind of expensive. But I got the digital premium, whatever the fuck, where it's like it comes with a extra story arc or whatever, which I always find those weird when it's like if there's DLC and there's like some like side quest, I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when it's like, because from my understanding, I think the DLC is like essentially the epilogue for the game, which I'm like, that's when I'm kind of like, that's kind of weird. If it's like you want a full conclusion to your story, give us more money. That's when I'm a little bit more like, There was another step up for the game, but it was like you get some like maid costume for one of the characters and like some like knickknacks, and I was like, all right, I'm good. Like I don't even running around cyberpunk Japan in these like really cool stylish clothes, and then there's just like a maid in my party. Like that would just look so weird. So yeah, but I've bought like I saw the sorry, to finish that, the Soul Hackers, it was like $100 regular price, and I got it for like $50.
Oh my gosh.
And there's so many things that I'm just like, why are anime games so expensive? Until they're like, I see them go on sale like all the time for like
Yeah.
dirt cheap. I bought SAO Hollow Realization for like
Yeah, all the SAO
$3.
games always feel like they're on sale. Same with like One Piece or like Dragon Ball. I saw like the price of Dragon Ball Kakarot. It was like $80 for some reason.
Yeah, it's always like these games are always like so expensive. But they go on sale like pretty frequently. Even if it's like Soul Hackers is a brand new game, more or less. It came out like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, something like that. It didn't come out that long ago. So it's like the fact that it's already going for like half price is a little bit like, ugh. But I will say, in my experience, the anime games are usually only worth like $30-$40. I haven't played Atelier or Riza or whatever. I heard that's really, really good. I played SAO Hollow Realization. I played a decent bit of it. And I'm like, I got my $3 of enjoyment out of this game. Because like SAO, I'm kind of on. But it's the game itself. I was like, this is pretty cool. Until it gets to the part where it's like, would you like to romance like Yui? And I'm like, no. I know it's an AI, but that's still like a child. What the fuck? So it's like there's stuff like that that's like so weird. And there was some like really fan servicey stuff in that game that was like, man, you thought the show was bad. Wait until you gotta push buttons. I saw one of the reviews. It did happen in the game, but I saw one of the reviews. They were talking about like QuickTime events, and they were like, "I'm so glad this game doesn't have it." And I was like, I mean, people complain about QuickTime events, and then I got to the part. There's a part in the game where you're in a cave with fuck, what's her name? The blue haired chick with the sniper. Fuck. You were with her, but she's not. She's like her.
Xenon?
Yeah. You
Yeah.
play as her, and she's not her gun Gale avatar. She's just like her regular human. Because Hollow Realization it's Aincrad, but it's not Aincrad. It's basically they took SAO and then they made a new version of it, and then all the characters are going back into PTSD land for some reason. Because it's like, oh, we finally escaped, and it's like, let's go back. And it's called like it's a different name, and it sounded super lame. It was like Ground Land or something. It was just like it was some weird name. Anyway, but it's a thing where you like tumble down she like comes to you, and it's like it has like the visual novel elements where it's like you'll have a thing pop up on your screen where it's like, oh, Sinon wants to talk to you, and you're like, okay, and then you run over there. And then she's like, oh, hey, Kirito, do you want to go adventuring in this cave I found? And you're like, for sure. And then it's like, let's go fight monsters and like look at each other for 10 minutes. And it's like fucking weird. But anyway, but there's a thing where you find the cave, and then it goes to the visual. And every time you're in like gameplay and you're running around the world, and it would fade to a cutscene or visual novel element, that's when I was always like, oh, this is gonna be some weird shit, isn't it? It's never when it's out and about in the game, it's never like this is gonna be totally nice, and like this cutscene's just gonna be like, oh hey, I found this bird I really like. It's always gonna be the most like weird fucking shit. So they find the entrance to the cave, and they tumble down, and he like lands on top of her, obviously because it's SAO. And it's like, and then there's this scene, and it's the most like, I don't know how to describe it. It was so fucking weird because I was like, this looks like hentai. This is like this close to being hentai, and it's a game. And the worst part is, it's not like you can like skip ahead. You gotta sit there and you press A, and it goes, and I'm like, get me out of here. Like, what if someone walks in right now? This is so fucking weird. So it's just like, I'm just like, man, SAO, why can't you just be normal? Why can't you just be chill? Like, you know, it was the first isekai I watched and the first anime I watched, and it's still the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. I have a new favorite isekai. It's Shield Hero, I think. Season 2 was kind of mid, but season 1 was really good. I bought an action figure from it. But yeah, so it's just like I don't know, but anime games are always like either super chill, or the weirdest thing ever. What was that one game I played? Oh yeah, Scarlet Nexus. What am I saying? The fucking game I keep talking about. I played Scarlet Nexus. I really, really enjoyed that. There was some like potential. There actually wasn't really any fan service in that game. So Scarlet Nexus was great. I really enjoyed that. I want to go finish the rest of it. I still think Scarlet Nexus is my game of the year for last year. And because I can't think of anything else that came out in 2021 that I liked. Scarlet Nexus was like, oh, this was really good. And then I want to play like Tales of Arise. I got that for pretty cheap.
Oh yeah, I've got like the entire Tales of franchise that's on Steam because it was all on sale.
Yeah.
And I haven't touched a single one of them.
Well, that's the thing. These games are always like dirt cheap, and they're always. I mean, anime games are always like 900 hours long for some reason. Unless
also,
it's like a
the download size is huge too.
Sometimes
Well,
Soul Hackers
in my eyes.
Soul Hackers was like 20 gigabytes, which was not that bad. I thought it was going to be like 70, 80, and it was like 20, and I was like, that's not horrible. Sorry, I should know I'm taking a drink while I was talking.
I'm used to games only being like a few gigs, probably because like I used to do like mobile gaming, and like you don't have that much like storage, so games would be like a bit smaller. Like high store, or like a game that would take up a lot of storage would be like 4 or 5 gigs. I'd be like, oh man, 5 gigs, that's a lot. This better be a good game.
Bruh.
Nowadays 5 gigs is like the minimum, or maybe like 1 gig for some of the smaller like games that kind of look like they could have been on like a flash game.
Yeah.
Those could be like a few megabits, but then like some of the RPGs that I've downloaded were like like 10 or 15, maybe even 20 gigs. I'm like, okay, it's like that's a lot bigger than 4 gigs, like what I'm used to on the phone. But and then I get to like, I thought like Captain Tsubasa was like 40 something gigs. I guess it was only like 15 or whatever. But some games, I don't know.
It's like 47.
Oh, is it 47?
Yeah, 47 gigabytes.
Oh man,
bro, get on my level.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh my gosh, it's nuts.
Most of the games I download nowadays are like, if it's like 30 gigs, I'm like, ooh, okay, that's good. I can deal with 30 gigs. Because like I have so many games that are like 100 gigs, 150 gigs, like, and I'm just like, oh my Christ, I do not have the hard drive space for this shit, man.
I keep them in rotation, so like I'll like not install the ones I'm not playing right now. Like for example, there's a game not made by Studio Ghibli, but like they have art made by, or like the designs made by Studio Ghibli, the Ni no Kuni games.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch is 43 gigabytes. And to me, that's a lot, because I only have like 150 gigs left, and that's like a third of my space.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a lot.
Well, like my backlog of games is crazy. Like I've been getting a little bit better. Like Gotham Knights, I was playing that, and then I got kind of bored of it. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna finish it out. And I lowered the difficulty because it's a game that I like challenging games, right? Like I love Elden Ring and Dark Souls and Bloodborne, all those games, because those games are tough, but they're fair, and their challenge like makes sense. What I cannot stand is like some of the Assassin's Creed games have done this, is like the artificial difficulty, when it's like they don't do any new like AI tricks or interesting like world. Or like the level design is a little bit challenging maybe, or like enemy placement is like, you get overwhelmed or whatever. It's the stuff that it's like, we're just gonna make the number bigger and there you go, it's harder now. That I cannot stand. So it's like, and Gotham Knights did that, because I got to the point in the game where I needed to like grind, and I'm like, this is a story game. I do not want to grind to get a higher level when I don't get any new moves or like anything like that, and my weapons look kind of different, but like it's just like, oh, they glow a little bit differently now, and it's like, ooh. um, so I hate having to. I don't like grinding in general, but like there's some RPGs or something like that I'm like, okay, maybe I'll do it. Like I've grinded a little bit in like Elden Ring and stuff, but it's usually not that bad. But Gotham Knights, I stopped playing because I got to the point because like you get to the next mission and it was like, oh, suggested level 26, and I'm like 20, and it takes so fucking long to level up doing just the normal like crimes and stuff, and I was like, bruh, I'm not gonna fucking grind, so I just stopped playing it, and then I got back to it because I was like, no, because I found that I was almost at the end of the game, and I was like, okay, I'll finish out the story. And then I lowered the difficulty down to easy because I was just playing on normal. I wasn't even playing on like hard or very hard or ultra or whatever the fuck. I was just playing on like medium difficulty. And then I was like, I got to a mission and I was fighting enemies. And it was literally like I was like doing my combos and I did like this much health. And I was like, I'm going to be here for an hour fighting this one enemy. And there's like 12 in this room. So I was like, what the fuck? So I lowered it down to very easy. And then I was like taking them down in like 4 or 5 hits. It felt like I would do one combo and they'd be down. And I was like, okay, this feels how the game just should be. And then I beat the rest of the game in like an hour. And I was like, the cutscenes were like, the story itself was kind of meh. It started off pretty strong and then just kind of went downhill as it went on, but the game was fine. But I was looking at it and I was like, wow, all the boss fights and everything in the game that I was like, wow, these are kind of tough. It was like, no, it's just because they just made the health bar bigger or whatever, and it's like, that's not fun. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, you're gonna be here longer mashing buttons, and that I don't care for. The enemies don't get any new moves or whatever, so it's like that bugged me. So it's like I finished the game and I was like, all right, cool. But
I feel like for games that have like levels, I was playing through Pokemon Fire Red the other day, and I was like really over leveled. Like I was trying really hard not to be over leveled. It's like if you like do all like the trainer battles and whatnot, like you're already like a few levels over like the first gym or whatnot. But maybe like a few bits of grinding here and there. But like I guess in a way, like when after you get the first badge, you don't actually have to do Misty. You can just go straight to Lieutenant Surge, which is kind of cool. So
Wait,
I did. Yeah, you don't have to do Misty. You can go straight to Lieutenant Surge because
I thought you needed to get the ability to use Cut from her.
No, you get cut from the SS Anne, and you get the ticket from the SS Anne when you talk to Bill.
Yeah, sorry, I knew you get the TM, but I thought you needed the badge to use Cut by beating Misty.
I thought that was the first. Was it not the first one?
Is it the first one? I don't fucking know. I haven't played Fire
I don't
Red
remember.
in years.
But it's like you could technically challenge. Oh, you can't challenge Lieutenant Surge if you don't use Cut, huh? Anyways, the levels of Misty was like, her Starmie was at like 21, or her strongest Pokemon was at like level 21, and then like Lieutenant Surge was like level 26. But like between then, it's like, the battles on the SS Anne, and sure, you can like skip through all the battles and just challenge Blue and whatnot. But if you're doing all the battles, you get over leveled pretty fast. And I was trying to make it to where I wasn't going over the level of like the next gym, but it was really hard because it was like you could just like if you do all the battles, and I wanted to do all the battles for like just for completion.
Yeah.
It like over leveled all my Pokemon, and I was like, oh, it like feels a lot like too easy, and I wanted to make this a little bit more challenging at the very least. So I feel like a good balance with like games. It's like if you do the story stuff, you should be like at the minimum like level range that it recommends you to be.
Yeah.
Or like maybe a little bit under, so you can do maybe 1 or 2 side things and then catch up to get into that range. But if you're like doing all the story stuff and you're like way over leveled, or if like that balance is off, or if you're doing the story stuff and you're like super under leveled and you have to do like a gazillion side quests to catch up, I feel like that balance isn't right. So
Yeah,
I think my optimum thing would be like have your story stuff get you just barely there, you know?
yeah. God of War Ragnarok that came out, got like a week and a half ago now. That's like God of War Ragnarok was the reason I bought a PS5. So I was very excited for that game, and it was really really good. But in that, you kind of have levels. Um, it's more about like leveling up your weapons and armor and stuff. More so your character. You get like skill points and stuff, but I didn't do any of the side quests throughout the game, even though the game desperately wanted me to, because like every time you're going to the next story thing, the characters are like, so we don't have to go do that thing. We can go do the thing that she asked us to, like to help out a friend. And I'm like, no, story. Because I just wanted to finish the story. Then I was like, I'll go do a little side quest afterwards. And the characters are always like, all right, man, that's fine, I guess. And I felt bad because I was like, I would like finish a story quest, walk up, like a blacksmith or some like other NPC would just be like, hey, so like my dog's missing and like I really need your help. I don't know, I'm so worried about it. And I'm like, cool story, bro. I gotta go do some other stuff. And I'm like, I'll get back to it eventually. And I've yet to do that. Anyway, but by just doing that, I was able to get to the game, and I never felt like super weak. My ideal balance for like a game like that, where it's like a story thing, you got some side quests, like it's an RPG kind of thing. I'm like, doing side quests should make you. It's more for like, if so, just going through just the story, no side quests, no extra stuff. You should be able to beat the game with the items you get from the bosses, the mandatory fights and all that stuff. You should be able to beat the game just fine with that. It's like if you're struggling or you just want a little bit extra power, then it's like, yeah, go do some side quests and you should be fine. Like if your weapon's not quite high enough leveled or whatever, you can go do a bunch of side quests and get your weapon maxed out and then go do the thing and you'll have an easier time. That's like my ideal balance. Because it's like just from the fights you do in the game and the boss fights and mini bosses you run into, they drop the upgrade materials needed to upgrade your stuff. And I can't say because it's like there's like a little bit of exploration here and there, and I went off the beating path a few times to like open up a chest or whatever. But before I was leveling out my weapon, I found I was super weak, and then because I was playing with my brother, well, we were both playing the game at the same time, and we were in the same room. It's not multiplayer or anything. But he was like, I saw his axe look super shiny and cool, and I was like, "Why does yours look way better?" And he's like, "I've been upgrading it," and I was like, "Oh yeah." And then I went to the blacksmith and upgraded all my stuff, and then suddenly I was a god. Yeah, so it's like that's my ideal thing, where it's like you can, if you're struggling a little bit and you want, I guess if you're struggling, just lower the difficulty. But if it's like you want a little bit extra power, then it's like, yeah, go do some side quests. But it's like you should be able to get to the game just fine with what they give you, and I do think you can. God of War Ragnarok, so that's good. I'm just trying to remember. Sorry.
Do you remember the Black and White 2 where they had like the challenge mode and easy mode? It was so weird because you had to beat the game to unlock them. I understand like the challenge mode, right, where it gets a little bit harder. But they gave you an easy mode after you beat the normal difficulty.
The only scenario I see that being useful is if you have like a little brother and you beat the game, or like a little sibling or whatever, or an older sibling, and they just suck at Pokemon. And you're like, don't worry, I got you, easy mode. But I think it's honestly what's put me off of Pokemon a little bit is that I'm like, you play Bloodborne and then you play Pokemon and you're like, oh my god, I'm falling asleep here. This is too easy.
Yeah.
And it's why I love ROM hacks so much. I have been itching to do a Pokemon challenge run. I just haven't. But like do like a randomizer Nuzlocke with like levels boosted and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, man, I used to do those all the time.
Yeah, I tried doing those, like the randomized ones, and I just never find myself continuing. Um,
Yeah.
it's harder for me to play Pokemon now, just because you know me, I always start from like the first gen, and I try to play, and then I don't finish, and I'm like, okay, let me try another one. Play through Gen 1 again, the same gym badges, the same story every time, and it gets stale. I could
Yeah.
start in a different generation, but then I'm not going in order, and it just messes me up. So
Yeah, I
I'll finish a game one of these days.
see, my thing is I got commitment issues. So I when I open up a new game, I'm like, oh geez, can I finish this? Um and it was like because I remember in like 2018, I think, um like the first game I had beaten in like years at that point. Because when I was a kid, I would rarely finish games, and I think another reason why was because um me and my brother played a lot of demos on our PS3. So we would just download a ton of demos. And this is back when demos were good and not like you could see the menu and then you click start and it's like, all right, give us money now. It was like you could play like half an hour. Sometimes they would just give you a whole section of the game and just be like, go nuts and for unlimited amount of time. And that was great. So we played a lot of demos. So I just like never saw the end of games like ever. And I was always bouncing to the next game. So if I was playing a game for longer than like 2 hours, I was like, holy shit, this is a really good game. So I had pretty much only beaten like a Pokemon game or two, the Uncharted series, and like a couple of other games here and there. But like overall, 90% of the games I played, I never finished. And then as I've gotten older, I think it's also because I buy my own stuff now. So it's like if I'm spending money on a game, I'm like, well, I spent money on this. I'm going to fucking finish. So it's like there's a little bit of that. Like 100%ing it is another thing that I don't do super often. My brother loves it. My brother will fucking torture himself to get that platinum trophy. And I'm like, I'll do the stuff I like to do, and then I'm tapping out after that. I don't care for the collect 500 feathers over the map, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Those I can't do. The collectible nonsense.
There's a thing like that in Pokemon Legends Arceus where it's like you got to collect 300 wisps across all the maps.
Yeah, that like I can't be bothered.
Or I think it's 100.
I sometimes those kind of stuff are nice because I like watching videos or whatever while I'm doing video games, while I'm playing video games. What the fuck was that sound? I don't know if that came through. That was so weird. I just burped from like my stomach. That was so strange. Holy shit. Anyway, but I forget what I was saying. That threw me off so much.
You play video games while watching stuff.
Oh yeah. I play games while I'm watching YouTube or anime or whatever. So it's like if it's a story game, I obviously can't do that. So it's nice when it's like I beat a game and I'm like, all right, I'll go do some of the side quest stuff. I'll throw on a video or whatever. So that's always nice. Because I like when games kind of leave you alone at the end of the game to just go do like whatever. Unless it's a game like Bloodborne or Dark Souls or whatever, where like you can literally play the game mute and you're getting not the same experience necessarily because you're missing out on some of the epic music. But I've already listened to the music once, so now I'm like, all right, I'm good forever now. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna burp again. I'm a terrible podcaster. Just burping into my microphone for an hour.
There's a lot of pretty good games right now that are in my library that I want to play. You know, like Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, like the first trilogy, Chrono Trigger. There's some Tales of Arise stuff or the Tales of series. So like I wanna start, like if I get into playing games, I want to start with like, you know, a lot of the RPG stuff. And I have some like
Right.
other games like on the side. Like I have Scarlet Nexus actually.
Good game.
And
Good game.
then a few others. No, actually, this year, or I say this year because like it's like one of the only games like that came out within the last few years that I finished. Inscription. I played
Oh
through
yeah.
it and I did a video on it, and it was a grind. I'll say that it was a not a grind. I don't want to say a grind. It was kind of cool. But it felt like I was playing the game 3 times because there's 3 different sections of the game.
Yeah.
But it was still pretty fun, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've yet to finish it. I still got like only an hour of gameplay in it. Maybe I'll finish it one day.
It was cool because like the gameplay just added more stuff over time. It's like first it's like, oh, you can sacrifice creatures and play this, and then it added bones, which was like if a creature is killed or like you sacrifice something, you get bones, and then bones is also like another cost. And then later it gets into like the technology cards, which use up energy. So think more like Hearthstone, where you get like one mana per turn,
Yeah.
and then it resets. That's how energy works in Inscription. It's like you can use energy to pay for like cards and stuff, and it's pretty cool because you can start doing some really cool combos and stuff. And there was another section of the game where it was just combining like different like factions, like technology. There was magics. There was a lot of stuff, but
Wow.
yeah, I want to play more games. Like I guess starting next year because 2023 is coming up.
It is. Christ. Yeah, no, it's
yeah.
coming quick. So far my New Year's resolutions, I haven't done any of them. I said I was gonna watch one big anime this year, and if I'm still gonna do that, I gotta start quick.
I forget what mine were.
I said the only one I remember was I said I was gonna watch one big anime like Naruto or Bleach or Hunter x Hunter. Well, I could maybe finish Hunter x Hunter between now and January.
It's like 160 episodes or 150.
I got like 100 episodes left. I could possibly do it.
That number might be off.
But yeah, I think that's all I had. I might have said some like get in shape generic thing, but like everyone says that for their New Year's resolutions. Which if I did say that, I haven't really done that. I've lost weight this year, at least in the last few months, but I don't think I did it in a good way. I think I've lost weight because of stress. Like,
oh my God.
I genuinely, because like I moved, which it's like we're coming up on our time, but so I'll probably talk about that in another thing because I'll need probably a whole episode to talk about my move. But I moved and it was pretty stressful. So I'm like, since I've moved, I've been here for like a few months now. I've dropped like 20 pounds maybe.
That's pretty nuts.
So I'm like, and like I'll go up a little bit and then I'll drop like 10 pounds. And it's like I've fluctuated a bit. But I've started working out to build the muscles. So I can show up in the summer with the tank top and just show off my huge biceps.
Shredded.
But being realistic, I'm not doing that. But who knows? I feel like I'm gonna be obligated to work out a lot more when I get my very expensive pants.
Start playing tennis in your Gotham pants.
Yeah, I like.
Isn't it Nightwing, not Gotham?
It's Nightwing, yeah.
Nightwing, yeah.
It's like the equivalent of getting like Gucci pants or Supreme, like fucking. Just gotta get the drip pose going on. I also bought a bunch of clothes because I have like no wardrobe. So I bought a bunch of T-shirts with like really cool designs on them. Yeah, they're by this artist that he does like they do like So like they take like food items and stuff. This is not the only thing they do. It's just the shirts I got. They do like food designs and they turn them into like cool, like creatures and stuff. So there's
that's
like
pretty neat.
there's like a sushi dragon one that I got. So it's a bunch of like sushi rolls linked together and it's in the shape of a dragon. I'm getting really hungry all of a sudden. So that's pretty cool. Those should be getting here soon. So next episode, maybe I'll have a really cool shirt on.
Yeah.
But I also have, speaking of spending money, I've been ordering quite a few action figures. Quite a few of them have gotten here. You can't see it because my giant head is blocking it, but I just got Levi from Attack on Titan and Batman and a new Spider-Man. So those are pretty cool. And I have, because for some reason, action figure companies are, well, it's probably because of Christmas, but it's like, we're going to have all of our stuff come out in December. So there's been figures that I've ordered that were supposed to come out in like September that have been getting pushed back and pushed back. So now, assuming everything comes out in December, I'm going to have like 10 figures show up next month. And
That's
I'm
pretty
like,
nuts.
I'm running out of fucking shelf space, so I don't know where I'm going to put any of them. If anything, I'm going to have to reorganize my stuff. And I definitely want to fill this space a bit. I'm pretty sure because of the way we set up the podcast, this is blocked up by your face. So it's like, you can't see it normally. But still, it looks super boring. But I also probably should have organized my couch a bit better here. You can just see where I sleep. But yeah, so it's, been some rough things in the last 7 months or whatever. Some stuff hasn't been too bad. But yeah, so anyway.
But yeah, hopefully next episode we can chat about some other things we've been doing.
Chat about some more anime and stuff like that, yeah.
7 months of stuff to catch up on. And also we could talk about the new Blue Lock episode, because I think it should be up by now.
I hope so. I didn't talk about...
I'm going to watch it immediately after.
I didn't talk about Chainsaw Man. I didn't talk about Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I didn't talk about... And that's all I've watched in the last 8 months. I didn't talk
Spy
about
Family Season 2.
Alright, so there's lots to catch up on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm good. If unless you guys have something else to
I'm
add
good
for this
too.
episode. Awesome.
Yeah. Played a lot of games and also didn't play enough games.
That is the life of a gamer. Too many games, not enough games, and too many games. But yeah, so thanks so much for hanging out. I hopefully there won't be another 7 months between now and the next one, but no promises.
No promises. Two guys with really bad commitment issues.
We're busy guys. We got so much anime to watch. So I can't commit to an hour and a half. Jeez. Anyway, alrighty. That's it for me. So,
yep.
I will see all of you in the next one. Bye.
Peace out.